Hello, everybody. Hello, who is present in this moment? Oh wait, I gotta put this on low latency so I can actually communicate with people. Oh no, it's too late. I'm already on normal latency. I can't like... maybe if I... Well, it's on normal latency, so there's gonna be a little bit of a delay, I think, on this, but that's okay. It's all recorded and it's all for people in the future. So I'm doing this stream today because I wanted to talk a bit about social proof of work, which is a concept that I discuss in the Cognicist Manifesto. And it's an idea that is intended to replace the profit incentive. And sort of over the last 5 years, while I've gotten a lot better at explaining the idea of sort of prediction networks and quantifying predictive value and the idea of aggregating our voices using natural language models, those things have become easier to communicate because other people have created things that have, gone viral, that have grounded a lot of the ideas that I'm sharing in people's minds before I even share the idea. And the idea of social proof of work, I've done 2 videos on YouTube, and even there I really didn't feel like I communicated it well. I was just trying to relate it to the idea of trash tag. And so I just want to get in and talk a bit about that, but also do some songs and do a bit more better of a rhythm than last time. Last time I went off on a sort of 45-minute tangent on the manifesto itself. But I'm gonna do, just do some songs and talk in between and try to get a good rhythm and just, Anyways, I'm gonna start with the one that doesn't have a lyric video. It's from the first album. It's called Moon in the Shape of a Heart. Well, there's a moon rising above all of the land, spinning around. And there's a moon smiling its way in on my heart and on my sound. I don't need another lover, I just need love in my life. 'Cause there's a heart shaped like my life, taking its time, finding its tide. And there's a light standing a sign, don't fear the dark, don't fear the light. I don't need time to recover, I just need a change of mind. Well, I found this sound and the space between our mouths, interweaved, then unwound, took her heart outside my town. We don't need to become mothers, we just need to save the world. 'Cause there's a moon rising above all of the land, spinning around. And there's a moon smiling its way in on my heart and on my sound. I don't need time to recover, I just need a change of mind. So I was just talking about social proof of work, and the 2 videos that I've made so far have been focused on trash tag, the concept of trash tag. Trash tag was basically this meme that emerged that was people who would see a dirty public space, they would pick up the trash, or they'd take a picture before, they'd pick up the trash and They would post online, people would give them likes. And what I saw was the quantification of social value and the reward of it with a token that was unlimited, right? Then normally with work, okay, the work that if you want to pay somebody to do work, or if you want resources, if you want to change something in this world, you have to have money. And money is a finite token. It's once you give it to somebody, it's gone. But with trash tag, you saw these people basically accepting the reward of likes, which are this essentially infinite token. Sure, each individual user only has one vote, or one upvote basically to reward an individual action. But it was sort of a very, very similar idea that you were seeing that people are willing to do social good for non-monetary rewards. And not only that, but based off of the dirtiness of these public spaces, that we're seeing that the current system of collecting taxes and having the government sort of pay to maintain these public spaces is not working. It's not efficient and it's not effective. And that idea is very, very simple and very grounded, but it does not really get deep into how revolutionary the concept is and how much it really transforms the concept of value. And I really want to get into the idea of the concept of how cognitivism and social proof of work quantify value in this new system, because it's essentially the opposite of how the profit incentive quantifies the extraction of resources. In a sense, social proof of work sort of incentivizes the creation of resources, or at least the ability of a locality to self-sustain itself and produce enough resources to be able to manage itself. So I'm going to get a bit into that and try to blow it out a little bit and get to the idea of the relationship between the value of a social proof, which is something that you would do through the system, and the value of just a dollar and claiming something is worth something. So I'm not going to linger too long on that. I want to just keep doing some songs, and this next song is called God Won't Save Us. Oh boy. I thought I had a cable. Okay. Here we go. Roll call. We don't know why we were trying so hard. Save all the earthings from something they don't want to hear. You're stuck in your way and you're stuck. Okay. This song has moments that actually connect to social proof of work and the concepts behind the manifesto. They're a little hidden, but I'll point them out after I go through the song, and you can sort of see what I'm trying to explain here. We don't know why we were trying so hard. Save all the earthings from something they don't want to hear. You're stuck in your way and you're stuck on mine. Just wait for the perfect solution to come and decide. You're gonna die. You do not compromise. We are trying to be nice. Find a way for you to integrate, but you insist on your lies. Hey, God won't save you, say hey, just try. Hey, wait for the future, don't wait, it's the way, it's the way, it's the way. The future is not that hard to predict. But by the time it is here, you'll be holding your dick. And we know that you think you're never wrong. Nothing will change, and not even a line in a song. You still alive for maybe 25 years, but then you're gonna die. You got a chance, you could see through your hands and see that there's other minds. Hey, God won't save you, say hey, just try. Hey, wait for the future, don't wait, it's the way, it's the way, it's the way. It's always been hard to watch a planet die, still gonna try to help you see eye to eye, see the same thing. It happens over and over and over, over and over and over again. You got this, you got this, you got this way about you. The human race is so hard to fight. You got this, you got this, you got this. If you could just, you got to see that you are not the only people in existence. Woo! There's a some chance you'd rather sacrifice lambs than even fucking try. Just write it down and fucking go to town with all that effort you might. Hey, God won't save you, say hey, just try. Hey, wait for the future, don't wait, it's the way, it's the way, it's the way. We are the aliens trying to reach you. Speak to your work, to your stars when they get really high. J. Michael Tillman was just the beginning. There's probably at least 20 more till we just let you die. Not gonna lie, because we speak mind to mind and say whatever we like. It's kinda weird, the language makes me not hear, just makes me nervous. Hey, God won't save you, say hey, just try. Hey, wait for the future, today, not today, not today, not today. Woo! It's weird. I don't know exactly why I said there was vague hidden references, but it's actually very, very obvious in the song when I actually listen to it. So I'm going to pull up some of these lyrics and just sort of talk through them. I hope you're all doing well. God won't save us. Okay. It was basically the idea of just like taking action on us taking action and abstractly that like this idea of another race of sentient beings in the universe trying to reach us, just trying to be like, listen, all societies go through this crap. We're trying to help you get to the next phase because a lot of them sort of burn out at this stage. Here's what you need to do. But also you guys are acting crazy. And in the song, there's a couple of there's a lot of lines actually that are really directly connected to social proof of work, to cognitism. Like to starting with like to find a way for you to integrate, but you insist on your lies, and it's like they're trying to find us like the idea of trying to find a way to integrate or aggregate our voices together into one, but our inability to stop even lying to ourselves is making it very difficult for us to move into this next phase, because if you're lying to yourself, I mean, you're not aligned with reality. Again, you know, the next verse, the future is not that hard to predict. That links back into the more basic idea of quantifying predictive capacity. You have to have a system that records sort of these predictions to be able to assess who is best contributing to social good, because you have to get a sense of their intentions for what their actions are going to be to impact social wellness. we go over the alien stuff a bit with it's always been hard to watch a planet die. We're still going to try to help you see eye to eye. We see the same thing and it happens over and 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 over again. Then there's this line, there's a slim chance we'd rather sacrifice lambs than even fucking try. It's just like, we'd rather listen, we'd rather do sort of ritual or just like not really deal with the actual tangible problems. We want magical solutions to sort of fix things. And to write it down is like, okay, again, if you want to identify which voices are best contributing to social good, it has to be in reflection. You have to be looking back at actions that people have taken, and therefore you have to have, at that time, had that person sort of claim, okay, I'm going to take this action to improve social good. And then, just sort of the idea of a species that had gone so far down this path that it's like language for them became very abstract, and they just sort of communicate directly, and lies become unnecessary. I genuinely believe that lies are just a huge, massive waste of everybody's time. And it's incredibly frustrating to me how much people lie, and they don't even know it. People lie all the time, and they don't view themselves as liars. It's often small lies or lies about the future or promises or stuff like that. And I think if we really could sort of show just how much those lies are connected with, the social ills of society, that we can make a new system that can transform it. Anyways, I'm going to keep going. I don't want to linger too long on any one topic. I'm going to do another song. Clappity clap. Fuck should I do? What the 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 fuck should I do? Everyone's eating the meaning of God, chasing the freedom to be what you want. Turn to the music and now you abuse it, cause everyone's trying to be on the top. And speaking the meaning of God, praise the people on top. You're weaker the more that you talk, so I know. What did you say? You think something will change? I love everyone thinking they're gonna break out of social decay. Praise the people up high, pay their way out of crime, but you're stuck at the bottom. You better get ready to pay with your time. What the fuck should I do? 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 Fuck should I do? What the fuck should I do? What the fuck should I do? What the fuck should I do? And everyone's trying to be a big man, cheating and stealing is part of your plan, cause everyone does it. You can't rise above it, you're playing the game, so none of you even exist. Back on my fist, taking a personal risk, selling your soul for a chick, taking a piss, looking into the abyss, copy the people on top, breaking the law. But if you ever get stopped, lawyers will do what you want, cause you ain't got money and power. God, you're seeking the meaning of God, the praise of the people on top. You're weaker the more that you talk, so I know. What did you say? You think something will change? I love everyone thinking they're gonna break out of the social decay. Praise the people up high, pay their way out of crime, but you're stuck at the bottom. You better get ready to pay with your time. What the fuck should I do? 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 Fuck should I do? What the fuck should I do? What the fuck should I do? So just jumping back, I'm not seeing too many, things in the chat, so I'm just gonna chat for the future audiences if there's more questions. But getting back to the idea of the profit incentive versus social proof of work, and how the profit incentive sort of works and how money works, because money is this sort of extractive, and capitalism is an extractive thing. It takes resources, it quantifies it, and tokenizes it into a value called money, which changes all the time because of inflation and, just how well a country is doing or whatever, how other people view the value of their currency. But the idea is that if a locality has resources to extract, then it's useful, then it's capitalizable. But the thing I always try to zoom in and connect to in people for the social proof of work is the idea of sacrifice zones. Sacrifice zones are really, really important in the context of capitalism, because it is when we basically define a geography as having unlimited, or that does not have the resources to be able to provide itself for itself, sustain itself, and we just sort of abandon it in a way. That whatever is fundamentally broken about it, that we don't put the money in to repair it, even though people still live there. In a sense, it's almost like a city being totaled or a country being totaled like a car. It may technically still work, but it's just been defined as being so expensive to repair that it's not going to happen, right? So if you have a locality with people and they have no resources, there's no value to putting money into that locality, because the only way you could return your investment in that situation is, one, you first have to transform that locality into no longer being sort of damaged in a way that is, it can't provide for itself. You know, it's like you have to heal it in some regard. You have to start by healing it. And then also, on top of that, you have to find a way to make it produce profit after that. And also, you can't really there's no value of taking action to help that locality unless you own that geography, and therefore you can benefit from making money off of it, right? So basically, sometimes we'll see like dilapidated pieces of land, and what will happen is, instead of healing it, or helping the people who already live on that, what a capitalist might do is they might go in and they buy it up for the real cheap, destroy everything, because it's like, this is all dead, I'm just going to wipe it clean, and build some sort of development community or something like that. It's basically saying, okay, everything has been extracted from this place except for the geography, the land itself, and therefore there's no value. I just need to destroy. I must destroy to make this land profitable. And I think that's incredibly broken and wrong way to think about it. The social proof of work is this idea that you could create value or to incentivize the helping and the aid of communities that do not have the resources to be able to provide for themselves. And the reason that people are doing this is by doing that proof of improving that the lives of another people, that they get rewarded with a type of token that represents how much their voice should be amplified in this sort of collective of people who are trying to enact change. Right now, power is quantified via elections and money and stuff like that. What I'm saying is there could be a system that quantifies power based off of an influence based off of how much individuals have been shown to help communities in the long term. So I'm going to stop there for a second and do another song. And I just hope, if you're having any questions about where I'm going with this or why I'm breaking it up in pieces, just let me know in the chat and I'll respond. And now I'm going to do Greatest Man Alive, which is about people who think they can save everything by just doing it exactly their way and not taking into account other people's voices. But it's also sort of taking the shit out of myself because I have a manifesto, how does that song go? I ran down the road, pants down to my knees, said please come help me, that Canadian shaman gave a little too much to me, and I'm writing a manifesto. It's never been done before. No, it's not manifesto. The lyric is a novel, but it's basically the same thing. Yes. The song is called The Greatest Man Alive. Do you have anything to say? Well, then we got gotta change? What are you gonna change it to, girl? Or is it just the same 4 lines? The world is in decline, and if the rich would just decide to give it all up, baby, you got a lot to say, but you will not ever say it. They do not give you the power. Yeah, my God, it's stuck in my head now, stuck in my head now, stuck in my head. My God, it's stuck in my head, it bears repeating. We got just 25 years to 25 years to 25 years to. We got just 25 years to save the whole planet. Gonna be the greatest, greatest man alive. Yeah, he'll be the greatest, greatest man alive. You could, but you can't make decisions. Do you have anything to say to a planet in decay? I know you don't. You say you do. So go and change everyone's minds by posting memes online. You save the world, you save the world, you save the world. Yeah, right. Gonna be the greatest, greatest man alive, but you can't make decisions. You got a lot to say, but you will not ever say it if they do not give you the power. Yeah, you wanna shout the same 4 lines like socialism's great, or yeah, capitalism's the best, okay. Yeah, my God, it's stuck in my head now, stuck in my head now, stuck in your head. My God, it's stuck in my head, it bears repeating. We got just 25 years to 25 years to 25 years to. We got just 25 years to save the whole planet. Gonna be the greatest generation, I know it. You can make the people wanna die for it. You be the one to open up their eyes, but they won't even listen. Yeah. This song is, oh God, it's a lot of things, you know? I mean, it's again talking about the idea of just speaking and sort of like using what we're actually saying as the signal as opposed to sort of all the other ways that we aggregate our voices that I talk about in the manifesto. And also just this reality that it's like a lot of people have these very intense visions of what the future or the way things should be. And they realize to make any tangible change that they need to accrue power. And then they realize to accrue power, they have to change themselves. And by the time they get to these positions of power, they are no longer the same person with the same inclinations, and they no longer have the motivation to actually do the thing that they would have done that they now understand. If they do that thing they set out to do, well, then I'll lose my position and I won't be able to do these future things. And then they just end up being stuck in these positions of power, not actually doing anything good, and sort of completely corrupted. And also just me looking around at the world and a lot of people who without any power at all, just being really like, let's just change the socialism. Let's just change the capitalism. Let's change to something that already exists. When it's very frustrating because all of the problems that we are facing specifically right now are due to the emergence of the internet and how the internet interplays with capitalism. And therefore, the idea that you could just go backwards to a system that was created when the internet didn't even exist and it's somehow going to magically cradle it. The same thing with capitalism itself is I think, a little silly. That the internet and the networked thought is just so transformative that the ultimate conclusion is that the way that we do governance or organization or cooperation of minds and how we work together is going to change dramatically. And right now it's very much shifted and directed by by capitalism, because in order to produce software or anything that could provide value for somebody, you need to have money. You know, I go so deep into this sort of this relationship between money and social change, and the ultimate reality, which is I'm saying, okay, we need a new incentive, but how do you incentivize people to replace a broken incentive if you don't have the incentive to incentivize them to do it? Or rather, like, how the hell would somebody, like, you'd have to pay somebody to do the code work to create something that would replace profit. How else? They have to live. They have to survive. And so whenever you get into this idea of positive social change, it always gets tied so tightly to money and the need to have money. And the idea of social proof of work is to take that idea and provide a completely different incentive behavior that functions differently, that does not have the negatives of the way that the money and markets function. And I'll continue sort of going through how exactly that is as I go through this site. Is that Karl Marx? What is Karl Marx? I love his greatest hits, but his back catalog is so annoying. Can you fucking imagine if, like, Marx or Engels or what's his face that wrote what's the other one, the capitalist one? I can't remember any of these manifestos. Can you imagine like the way that they approach it? Like, I'm gonna be a songwriter and I'm gonna write songs that are gonna promote social change. It'd be absurd, but you know, the entirety of the internet is powered by art and attention and advertising. At this point, like, I have a hard time envisioning like a, you know, something like if somebody wrote, for example, any like the Communist Manifesto or Das Kapital or any of these things, I don't really think they would have any impact now, because we are so distracted by things that are so much more shiny. And it's definitely why I've chosen the route that I have for like promoting this idea instead of going through the systems that you might imagine. Oh, yes. If you took the most ardent revolutionary, vested him in absolute power, within a year, he'd worse than the Tsar himself. Like, yeah. And I don't think that necessarily applies to every single person. And obviously, that's why I'm creating a system to sort of reward different voices that take better impact. And also transforming the idea of what power is, and making power not absolute, ever. Absolute, just destroying the concept of absolute power as being completely flawed. So yeah, I'm gonna do Purple Pill now, which is, again, they're all sort of in the same vein of things. Yeah, if you know anybody right now who's bored or wants to tune in, send them a link or something. It'd be great to see some more faces in here and voices. Ugh. How does it do this? None of this is even real. None of this is even real. All will go away. Living in a plastic box, instead of in reality. Don't you wanna be awake? Don't you wanna hear the earth? Don't you wanna feel the weight? Oh, that good work. So yeah, number one, neglect the planet. Number two, on the net. Number three, forget the rest. I don't think that's gonna work for me, because I like reality, and I don't think I'm alone in that fact. None of this is real. Can you hear the horsemen coming? Don't you wanna feel plugged up to plastic boxes? I just wanna see what we've done. Come and tell me, I'll walk this world with you, so free, so free. Don't you wanna walk with me, so free, so free, yeah. None of this is even real. All of it will go away. Living in a plastic box, instead of in reality. Don't you wanna be awake? Don't you wanna hear the earth? Don't you wanna feel the weight? Oh, that good work. So yeah. Take the blue, live in comfort. Take the red, experience hurt. Take them both, tell you what it's gonna do. It's gonna be the best of both worlds. Take the purple pill, it's time to live in the future with me. None of this is real. Can you hear the horseman coming? Does you wanna feel plugged up to plastic boxes? I just wanna see what we've done. Come and tell me. All this world with you, so free, so free. Don't you wanna walk with me, so free, so free, yeah. None of this is even real. All of it will go away. Living in a plastic box instead of in reality. Don't you wanna be awake? Don't you wanna hear the earth? Don't you wanna feel the weight of that good work? So yeah, I found you. Would you follow me out? Would you agree with doubt or elation? Do you wanna be free? Are you ready to see? Are you ready to take the purple pill with me? None of this is real. Can you hear the horseman coming? Don't you wanna feel plugged up to plastic boxes? I just wanna see what we've done. Come and tell me. I'll walk this world with you, so free, so free. Don't you wanna walk with me, so free, yeah. None of this is even real. All of it will go away. Living in a plastic box instead of in reality. Don't you wanna be awake? Don't you wanna hear the earth? Don't you wanna feel the weight of that good work? Again, you know, the song is very much like that thing of like, let's actually take the work and the effort to build a new system to sort of avoid any of these problems. We're sort of living in this delusion of the internet where we're not like really facing reality. We're living in these tiny pocket bubbles, and it's, you know, do you have the capacity within yourself to fully consume all perspectives, both the red and the blue? Or just however you want to quantify that divide of minds, because it's more than just binary. It's incredibly varied. But I think that what we've done is the internet has caused us to lean into what we already agree with and what we already believe, and it reinforces that. And so, you know, getting back into, you know, social proof of work and sort of this contrast between the profit incentive and rewarding the extraction of resources. Now, something that people always tend to ask me is, like, how would you exchange this token for money? Or not for money. How would you exchange this token for resources, for food? How is this going to help people? And like that lens is still just so stuck in the capitalist mentality of a tokenized thing that you exchange for a thing. It's very grounded and simple in a way, and I think that's what people understand that. But when you blow that out to the system level, that there are a lot of emergent properties that are very negative, and some positive too that we see, but a lot of very negative ones that are very avoidable. And so another thing that people might sort of have questions about in regards to this is like, okay, well, this requires technology to interact with, but okay, well, what about places that don't have technology or do not have the resources to be able to interact with? I'm like, again, you're missing what I'm saying. You're still thinking about this from a point of view of capitalism, where the value is defined by the dollar, and if you do not have the dollar, you do not have the resources to provide for yourself in any reasonable capacity. That is not the way that a token that is based off of essentially quantifying which voices are most aligned. I mean, there is literally a ranking in this, in that some people are much more aligned in the similar way that some people have more money than others. But the difference being is you can't just hoard this token. The token just magically stay in yours, and you don't exchange it for things. It's something that shifts where it's allocated based off of things change. For example, we talk about the quantification of a social good, but it really, what it has to be is long-term futures. That's where the predictive capacity gets into, and that the longer the dependency between a claim and the outcome, or an action and the outcome, and the amount of other minds within the system that it appears to impact, the greater value that action should take. So, for example, as somebody, I said last stream, somebody might be walking through a park, they might see some trash, and they might say, I want to see this picked up. Somebody picks it up, and they get rewarded for that. It's a very short-term thing. A very small amount of reward would be provided for that. And I said last time, okay, well, if somebody put in a garbage can in a location that caused, people to just throw it on their own into the trash can and not on the ground because they noticed that there wasn't a trash can in the location, people threw it on the ground because it was inconvenient, something like that. But at the same time, there can be very, very unexpected events where the society can be very in alignment with it at first. For example, you might do something like genetically modified organisms, and for like a few generations, it does exactly what it says. It produces higher yield with, more nutrients in it, and it saves a lot of lives. However, you have this small community of voices that are very adamantly saying, like, this is going to be a problem, it's going to mutate, and it's going to fuck everything up. I don't know whether this would happen in this particular case, but you had for years that this one person claiming this would be great, the GMOs, and validated. But, okay, the second the problem emerges, should that person who was insistent over these last 10 years maintain their power and maintain the influence of their voice? Absolutely not. For a long time, they were the social good, except for somebody with a better understanding of reality and the better understanding of things play out was very clear and adamant. This is a bad idea. This is a short-term solution. Okay, this is the difference between short-term and long-term sustainable solutions and the reward and value of that, right? This is a really, really, really important thing that we need to put into the signal that guides our behavior in society. The short-term versus the long-term. All our collective behavior right now is mostly focused on, in the business sense, on the quarterly level or the yearly level. It is not so much in the 5-10 year level. Some massive mega companies can plan at that scale, but it's not planning for a better future or a better world unless they're being like 2% of their funds or something for basically advertisement. Hey, we donated some of our stuff to green stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but 90% of your efforts are working in the opposite direction. You're not doing anything. You're just using that as an advertisement that you're helping people, and it's not a full quantified value, but whatever. So, yes, and then I'm gonna after this next song, I'm gonna go a little bit deeper into the idea of, I don't know how to exactly say it. It's sort of this idea of how it quantifies the creation of resources, how you may have somebody in a locality that has no resources to create the technology, and why a person in a locality it inherently motivates them to provide resources to those who need it the most in a way that is most sustainable, because that is the location of the most greatest reward in this system. You will achieve the greatest reward if you help those sacrifice zones. That's the way the system works. You will achieve, ignoring the how. If there is a reward that rewarded the most for helping those that had no resources, I want you to consider how that would change the dynamic of society completely. Disregarding how it would be done. If there was a reward for helping people to create long-term sustainable futures in a way that could be quantified, where that locality has no resources to provide for the repair or healing of their locality or improvement of the well-being of those within, let those dynamics those system-level dynamics play out in your head. What happens when you do that? What happens when you reward helping those who do not, and make it such that the reward for helping those people is viewed as being greater than the reward of profit and receiving more of this arbitrary token. It's arbitrary already. Paper is arbitrary. A paper token is arbitrary. We can move the way that we quantify social value to another arbitrary medium that functions better. But right now, we are so connected to money, we cannot break out of it. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I'm going to try this. Okay, I think I solved this. I think I got this. Oh, boy. So this is my new single. It's called Another Other. I'm gradually... It's taking forever because I chose a lyric that's a very hard vocal for me to do. But whatever. It's a lyric that I wrote 3 days after the election when we were just kind of very uncertain that it was going to be Biden, but like there's still sort of like, is it going to stick and that kind of stuff like that. And it was a time that I was like, okay, I think it's probably going to be Biden, and I want to reach out to these people who've basically been saying, fuck you for 4 years. Just fuck you. I fucking hate you. You're awful. You're evil, whatever. It's like, how do I reach out to you but also be pragmatic and not just be like, you, and and ignore the fact of just how crazy certain people have been acting, how hateful certain people have been acting, and be like, how do I fucking connect with you? So that's what this song was. And I was going to release it earlier, but then, because I did not really fully expect, an insurrection or, coup attempt. I didn't really expect that. That's not something that I personally exactly predicted. I knew something bad was going to happen. I knew that it was going to get violent, but I did not have a concept of somebody was going to break into the Capitol. Now, again, this is another one of those predictive things where there were people who absolutely said, yes, this is going to happen. We have the evidence. And they were ignored and it happened. This is something that could have been avoided using the same system. All right. Wanna be another other. Just another tribe that makes you feel afraid. I just wanna bind our brains. I feel heretical and chemical, down to melt the minds and make us see the same. Hey, hey, hey. It's coming from inside. Wanna feel the feeling and the feeling's feeling right. Jetty other side. There's no way that you're right. I know because I know and know you'll never change my mind. I wanna be a brother, but I fear and I fear what you say. What? No. Bombs come from the space in our brains. I can see a light and miss another. Tell me that you're right and I don't feel the same. You walk away, look into your eyes, see another mind, another kind. Maybe if we both just calm down, it'll change. Hey, 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 wanna take your mind, lay it over mine. See the things you see and see the wisdom in your eyes. I know we're not the same. Maybe if we change, move a little closer, maybe we can find a way. I wanna be a brother, but I fear and I fear what you say. Why do you run for cover when the bombs come from the space in our brain? Hey, you, why What's your name? All you wanna do is sing the same refrain. Hey, I won't change. Nothing that you say is gonna shake my faith. Hey, I won't change. Nothing that you say is gonna shake my faith. Hey, I won't change. Nothing that you say is gonna shake my faith. But I wanna be your brother, but I fear and I fear what you say. Where do I cover when the bombs come from the space in a brain? So that song, okay. What we want is this is gonna go off. Okay. So that song, and the video itself is very much, hold on. Stop it and distract. Okay. The video is really sort of getting to the technology and the how. Like, I just went through this experiment being like, just ignore the how this would be done and imagine the system level effects if you could create an incentive like that. If that existed, what would happen? And the other half of it was, how do you actually do that? Because that's a tall tale. And I think I spent a lot of time over the last 5 years talking about exactly the how and a little bit of the why, but really struggled to get really down to this idea of how this value is quantified. And I don't know if I'm even getting it now, but I'll just continue to do it and sort of refine. But I do think I got some good stories with this trash tag thing that sort of makes a little bit of sense. But with this video, what we're using is unsupervised learning to create a representation of data being input such that you can output a new representation that did not exist in the original data. Okay. Now, when you do this with faces, it generates all these sort of human faces that are very, very different and do not exist, and in a way that you could sort of translate between them, because it's representing every face that possibly can come in a way that if you sort of, you output one picture, if you change the numbers that produce the feature just a little bit, it'll be a similar looking picture, but it'll still look like a face. So maybe one of those numbers represents a certain feature like hair color, and if you change it, it changes it just from brown to blonde, whatever. It's just a way to represent all these faces in a space. Now I'm saying, okay, take that and do that with text and have that text be a collective representation of what people are doing and the actions that they are taking, and have it constantly learn which specific voices are most aligned with these better outcomes based off of this protocol and based off of having this immutable chain of data. Because if you have a chain where you know for sure that, this thing was logged, 2 or 3 years ago and it can't change, and that's sort of the way the blockchain works, is the longer that's attached to it, the harder it is to edit something in the past. That's sort of a really, 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 really powerful signal. And you can use these machine learning models to actually actively read in what people are claiming that they're doing, and use that as a quantification. And that's what this video is, and that is what a lot of the other videos are about, which is like, how do you take people's words in? How do you assign that reward? How do you define that reward? What does that reward mean? What are the protocols? How would different people integrate with this system? Because it's not a system that is designed to be a centralized one-all thing. It's a thing. It's a protocol that many different organizations would and could create their own implementations of and plug in so that they can network together. This is about a decentralized network of communities that are aggregating their voices and working together for a better future, if that makes sense. It is not something that is meant to be like there is one end-all be-all thing. It's a way that we better just aggregate our voices. And seeing what is possible with this machine learning stuff and this blockchain stuff, I understand very clearly how hard it would be to manipulate something like this. And the only challenge for me is getting that level of confidence into others and getting them to understand exactly what it is that I'm trying to communicate. I wonder how long I've been going. No idea how long it's been. Oh, wait, yes I do. I've been going for an hour. I'm about halfway through my set. Moving on to the next one, and then I'm going to tell you a story about let's say, a tribe that does not have a well, let alone a computer. Let's say that. Let's say they don't have a well, let alone a frickin' computer. Why would anybody give them a computer? Why would anybody give them access to the system? What is the value? Again, if you're asking that question, you're still stuck in a capitalist mentality. Why would somebody do this? Where would the resources come from? Where would it's a different incentive. You're creating an incentive for people to perform actions that has a different incentive than money. Split those things. Split them. Okay? I'm working on explaining it better. This song is again about speaking up, your voice, your truth. Oh, come on. Oh, wait. No, it's this one. These times, are you gonna raise up and lift your voice so high? Are you gonna break down and never even try? 'Cause you gotta know we ain't got a lot of time. No time. This time you wanna change their minds, but you feel it's too late. No talk now. Minds resigned to signs of hate. Voices crash and stay the same, so you feel quiet now. Hold your tongue and things change. Close your ear and walk away, and we'll feel no fear. But it will not help us heal. Are you gonna say I don't like the other side? Are you gonna think you're the only one who's right? Is it really worth losing Earth to keep your pride? No time for spite. We've gotta make this right. 'Cause I feel we could change, balance out. Some will say we've lost our way. Speak your voice and things change. You feel quiet now. Face your truth upon the stage. Use your word and we can say what we need to be. Your voice will set you free. Are you gonna say I don't think I wanna change? Are you gonna pray at the world with your pain? Fees are coming, you just keep on running. I think you got something to say. Hey, 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 yeah. You gotta pray. can't control more than the things you know. So I love to watch you say that you're gonna make a change, but I got a feeling in my soul we got some room to grow if we wanna see the earth surf. So say it one more time, but I wanna hear you speaking up. Lord, I just can't get enough, and I wanna hear our voice as one, as it breathe the rising sun. So on the surface, this song is very much like just speak up, speak your truth, and that kind of stuff, which I don't think is necessarily something that hasn't been said before. But again, this ties deeply into sort of cognitism. Again, what I'm trying to say is that creating this system of voices that is not like social media, that because social media is sort of like, again, extractive. What does social media do? It uses artists, it uses your creative power to give them money. You are the resource. You are the resource. You get that. I hope everybody understands that with the social media, you are the resource. You are being extracted, especially artists, but also just people with their opinions. So I'm talking about this system that it's like you are constantly aggregating your voices, your perceptions of the future, and you're rewarding the voices and the actors who are taking the actions that best benefit others. And you're doing that through blockchain because it's a way to have a distributed store of information that is resistant to individuals editing it. And also the stuff that's further back in the chain is the most secure. That is incredibly important. When you have technology where the older data is more secure, that is the foundation for something like cognitism, the profit incentive, or the social proof of work. And it's funny. When you have an idea, you have to give it a name. Like, otherwise, how people are going to refer to it. And so I have this concept of this new incentive, and I had to sort of give it a name. And at first, I jokingly called it the profit incentive, PROPHET, because it would be like, well, who is really sort of understands the future the best? Who are the true prophets of our times that are really and incentivized, basically, because people are like, hey, I want to be the voice that's truest or whatever. But I just really, as I sort of worked through the system and the powers of what it could do and how it was quantifying value, I realized that is not really fully encompassing at all of what the capability of this is and how it relates to the profit incentive. And so, at some point I started considering calling the phrase social proof of work, because it was simply this idea, well, okay, it's work. You need to prove your work that you've done for society. And that's pretty straightforward. But also because it connected to the phrase proof of work, which is what secures the blockchain, or proof of stake. And also the concept of psychology of social proof, which I don't even remember what it means, but I remember looking it up and being like, it's close enough. It's not going to confuse people. So yeah, it's just like, it was a term that I've been using to describe this, but often when I'm talking about the quantification of predictive value, or I'm talking about this machine learning thing, or I'm talking about how people are just saying their voices, it's all the same thing. Everything is the same thing. And I'm trying to establish like how the system level effects would play out on that. Oh, I was supposed to tell a story about the well. Okay. This is the question that I get all the time, and I so fully know the answer, and yet no answer that I've ever given has ever been satisfying to anybody. They always just answer the same question again, or they ask the same question again, which makes me realize that I'm not communicating what I'm thinking at all. The way that I view somebody as understanding something that I've said, especially if it's novel, is if they can reflect it back to me in new language. And for some failing of my own, I've been unable to get there. But like I said, if you have a locality that does not have the resource, a sacrifice zone, there needs to be incentive to help those people. There has to be incentive. Now, a lot of people just wish this goodwill and, morals and whatever are going to be enough to help others. But, we've lived a long time as humans. Humanity has been around for a really long time, okay? It's not happening. I'm sorry. At small scales, absolutely. Absolutely. Don't be crazy to say that if you went into a tribe, you couldn't have completely different forms of organization below like 150. Absolutely can you have these other forms of organization that don't require capitalism, that don't require any tokenization whatsoever. You want to know why? Because everybody knows each other. But if you want to scale up to where you have to deal with strangers, you need some protocol to interact with them. And the protocol has been for a long time money. That we quantify value through this exchange medium. And so when people say, well, what would make these people want to? Because again, what I'm saying is because the system is seeking to reward those who are taking actions that create long-term positive futures. That the more negativity that a particular locality is currently dealing with or sharing their frustrations with, or their perceptions of how well things are going, the more there is of that is what is to be extracted and transformed into this incentive. Okay, because without anybody to help, nobody can be paid. If you had a society where everybody was self-sufficient, where nobody needed any extra resources, everybody had exactly what they needed emotionally, physically, in every possible way, no token would be distributed anymore because everybody would be self-sufficient completely. In reality, that is, I think, never going to happen because I just don't think humans are perfect like that. Like, we're always going to make mistakes. We're always going to have failures. And so it's like, well, why would somebody want to help this community? It's because they could earn, because in their personal life, they have realized that money no longer, say in the future, this is because the incentive is starting to grow in importance. Money no longer is the best token for them to pursue, the best thing they can do with their efforts. And maybe they've accrued a lot of money and they want something to do with it, they're bored or something. That the only way that they would be able to convert their token of money into this other token you can't buy it, you can't exchange it. So the only way to earn in this new system to say, I also have this token, is to help other people. Now you can use your money, and yes, people who have more money have a greater capacity to help others currently. And so as you would, by giving an incentive to the people who are rich, you are giving them a way for them to refine their behaviors to help other people more. So you look at this locality, and they don't have water, they don't have well, and they also don't have a computer to be able to integrate with this. Why does somebody provide that for them? Because they personally have their own individual goals of wanting to do something in their locality, and they need to show that their voice is aligned with the future and their actions are aligned with the future. And maybe wherever their locality is, people have already taken a lot of steps. You've already worked through all of the easy, low-hanging fruit for things to improve. Now you have to start seeking out people who need help. Now you need to start seeking out localities that don't have resources. That's sort of this transformative motivation that changes things from being extractive to be quantifying the helping and creating of futures where either there are resources sufficient enough for that locality to support itself, or it can, through some other means, gain the resources that it needs. Maybe they can't grow food on theirs, but it's like you transform the society, they can produce another resource, and that resource is something that some other locality needs desperately, and they have the resources. You see what I'm saying? It's about rewarding social aid and not necessarily mutual aid, because some people don't have anything to give. I talked to this girl once a long time ago who had chronic pain. She's like, well, what do I have to give? And she was talking about socialism and re-education camps for people. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Do you have anything to say other than we've got to change? Socialism's the best. Oh yeah. And if people disagree, I'll just violently throw them in the brig and make them disagree. And I'm like, well, what if you were, in a sense, a potential resource because you were somebody who needed to be helped, and somebody could find a way to provide you exactly what you need. I know that you're suffering. I know that you need aid because you do not have the resources. But there's nothing to incentivize that now. And just making the government create social programs, not incentivized. Plenty of people exist within the capitalist landscape that do not want that. Sorry, I went a little bit long on this one, but I felt like I was sort of getting there a little bit, just a little bit. Let me see if anybody said anything. Work voucher system they used instead of money in anarchist Catalonia during the Spanish Civil War. Yeah, we got to talk about that in our review because we've talked about that before. Social proof of work would get more people replicating scientific studies. Absolutely. That's another unintended consequences of it. And we know that scientific studies have a replicability problem right now. Companies are very reactive. Also, you're required to return value to your shareholders first and foremost. Exactly. Now, a lot of people will say something like, that's absolutely bad. And I would say it's a kind of shitty analog for good. It's kind of like it kind of helps people. In the same way that a monetary transaction, it's like you go from people taking actions to only benefit themselves, whereas a transaction benefits at bare minimum two people because both people are agreeing that they want to make this exchange. So it's forcing people to take actions that also benefit others in a weird way at a just very, very small scale. The song I'm writing a manifesto that you were putting around with, that's the one, Adam Smith. There are imperatives, laws, and rewards that encourage rent-seeking and exploitation of human natural resources. Exactly. All these things are existent, and it's motivating. It's incentivizing us to do very negative actions, often actions that are against our own moral code. Very often against actions that are against our own moral code. The song that I'm writing a manifesto, that song is by Father John Misty. Father John Misty. Interesting. What does that name sound like? Father John Misty. It's got a very da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Interesting. Tell that to the active Maoist guerrillas. If someone wrote something like the Cognitive Assessment, it wouldn't have an impact. Yeah, I know. I'm being hyperbolic. Hello, Colin Vale. Is doing something meaningful and fun with our lives. There has always been intrinsic motivation for people to help other people. Yes, we understand that people have an intrinsic moral motivation and that exists within humans, but it is being pressed down by our current system. And what I'm suggesting is to incentivize that forward more, to bring out the natural inclinations of humanity towards aid towards others. I do believe that aid is intrinsic, but it is not currently being expressed very clearly. And I understand a lot of people who just want to be like, people should just be nice and care about other people. Very beautiful sentiment. People should just be nice and care about other people. They don't. There are a lot of bad people in this world that are only bad because the system encourages them to be so. There's some small percentage of bad people who are just going to be bad no matter what and literally want to cause harm to other people. But most sort of actions that people take are incentivized by things around them. We just need to have a simple way to measure our goals. Yeah, exactly. Oh no. Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in a world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you wanna view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it, do it. Wanna change the world, there's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. I love that song so much. Such a beautiful, beautiful song. It's funny, like, I'm trying to break it up more, do more songs and more talking, split it up, so it's like people don't get tired of one thing. But it's like the part of my brain that performs and does music is like different place between the part that talks. So it's like as the activation in my brain moves from one place to the other, it's like it's hard to get back into each space. It's like I'm like, oh wait, I'm stirring up because I was just like in the intellectual part of my brain. Now I need to go back to the music part. Blah 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 blah. I don't think I've ever played this next song live, and I'm really excited to, because it's a really important song from Strange Hymns. It's also a very difficult song for me to do, and one that I wasn't necessarily happy with on the album because my own vocals didn't quite get there. And it's the only song on the album that has another voice besides mine. I contacted a friend from college, Lindsay Pavao, she's great. She has a great voice. She was on The Voice. And so I knew that she would have professional gear to record. And, so I just sent, I sent the song to her and had her record that for me. And, basically just because like I know my voice isn't good enough on this song, but as the years have gone by, I've gotten a lot better at it, and I really enjoy it. And it's really about a song. It's a song about embracing the flow of change in life. I posted yesterday on Twitter a quote that was, "You cannot beat a river into submission. You have to surrender to its current and use its power as your own." And I have a line in that song, which is sort of like the main line. It says, "Flow with the path of change." And it's really the same sentiment. I actually pulled that line from a Marvel movie. It's the Ancient One talking to Doctor Strange about messing with time, and that you can't like force time a certain way, and that you use the weight of the times to your best and not try to flow against it when it has so much power of its own. Let me just take a little drink of water and then I'll go. Oh wait, I actually do have, I thought I didn't have a lyric ready for this, but I do. Floating down a stream, watching all the colors float on by. will find a way. Past will soon decay when all that you know is all that you are. Time can't be tamed, always straying, flow with the path of change. As we grow, different roads, walk down the path glowing in the breeze. Little living visions light the way. Sometimes they may change, world can stay the same, and all that you know is all that you are. Time can't be tamed, aimed, always strained, flow with the path of change. As we grow, different roads, walk down the path unknown. All I know is I can't really know what comes or goes, but I still have hope that our past will change. The past will change. Always strange. Just give me just 1 second. I need to check on something. Just give me a moment. Weird. Yeah, River Delta. It's weird. It seems like two people just went out of their way to dislike this stream, and I'm a little confused why you would do that instead of just not listening. It kind of kills my energy a little bit. It's like, why come by and say fuck this without even saying anything? Anyways, so I was going from at least 2 people liking it to 0. Kind of shitty. Anyways, I'm gonna play one more song. It's gonna be another one with audio in the background. It's called Do You Rely on a Plan? Just pulling this up. Could be like this. All right. This song, it feels like it's a strange hymns era song, but I actually wrote it after. So, yeah. Well, down. What the hell? This goes. Sorry. Sometimes these things just take. Well, I. Well, I've been round this road. Nobody knows how far it goes, but I feel like walking as far as these 2 feet. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure. Go. Lie on a plane. Tell you all the things you can and can do. Oh well. Tell me if you can. See the light at the end of the road. Fade alive as you watch it unfold. I'll rise unto the rising sun. I wait upon the patient moon to try to just speak of the earth. I look to the north, see the world for what it's worth, and I feel like talking. As far as these 2 feet let me go. Rely on a man. Tell you all the things you can do. Oh well. Tell me if you can. See the light at the end of the road. Fade alive as you watch it unfold. I heard these hymns inside my mind. Strange it seems it could be mine, but I took the words as my own. This road nobody knows how far it goes, but I feel like walking as far as these 2 feet will let me go. To rely on a man. Tell you all the things you can do. Oh well. Tell me if you can. Say the light at the end of the road. Fade alive as you watch it unfold. I heard these hymns inside my mind. So strange it seems it could be mine, but I did the words as my own. Love me or hate it, still a decision. Yeah, I guess. It's just hard, you know. It's like when you put so much effort into something like this, and it's really from a morally motivated place, and it's like, especially when you sort of seen your predictions come to pass based off of your knowledge, and then you have people just be like, nah, and it's like, I want to create a system that is so not so short term, because like once somebody downloads something in any social media system, it will not be shared as much by the platform, because they're looking for things that people just like, that people just engage with, things that feel good. And so there's no mechanism for people to see content or information that they don't want to hear. Again, this is something with social proof of work, and this sort of quantification of predictive value and unwanted futures, where it's like people are forced to see what they don't necessarily want to hear, because historically certain voices have been more accurate in predicting others. I think that's really, really important, that because we have a lot of voices online that are sharing things that are incredibly important and need to be heard, but they just do not get to the right voices, or the minds right away. It takes too long for the information to disseminate. And even when the knowledge is there, it's like in the beginning of the pandemic, the CDC basically said that people shouldn't wear masks, and their reasoning was because they needed enough for healthcare workers. But the way it got framed publicly and on social media and society or whatever was that, oh, actually masks don't do anything, so you shouldn't wear them. It's a waste, and that they would need them for people. That doesn't make any sense. Well, then why would the healthcare workers need them if people didn't? And so you had this sort of like intentional misinformation going around, with the intent to sort of convince people of some actual truth by lying about it. And I think that's very sort of detrimental. Like, we shouldn't have to live in a society where we have to lie people into submission. We should be able to handle and face the truth, and face reality, and face things that we don't want to hear. That's incredibly important, to be able to face things that we don't want to hear. It's why the internet is getting so bubbled, is because people are recluding to only those that they want to hear. And I really, you can tell my songs, I'm like writing a lot of stuff about just trying to incorporate the views of other and not cut off ties. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, I knew this person on the far right, or even the far left, I guess. And they're like, oh, well, I had to cut that person out of my life because I couldn't deal with it anymore. It's like, okay, that's what everybody is doing. We're more and more cutting people out of our lives and cutting off opinions that we don't want to hear. And it's not going to get better. I said this 4 years ago, and I'm still saying it now. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. Social media can't fix it. You cannot take something that functions on profit and have them be the distributor of free speech within the way that the U.S. government currently works for, being free speech being this fundamental right. You cannot. It's untenable. Anyways, yeah. So that was sort of my last song, and I'm going to continue doing these every week and just sort of picking a topic and adding new songs and refining it. Do you rely on a plan? Sort of fumbled a bit on it because it's like I'm still working out the internal clocks of Logic and stuff like that. But I would love to hear if anybody has feedback. When is better for them? What times are better for them to tune in? If there are specific topics that you would like me to hear me talk about, or like song requests or things, or approaches or covers. I just would love to get a bit of your feedback in the chat now that I'm, not playing or speaking no more. If you guys have any thoughts before we wrap this up. Especially in regard to next week's stream, if there's any changes you want. Flow with the path of change sounds like a lot of some aspects of Taoism. Yes, Anya, it does. I will tell you a little story about that in private later. But absolutely. Not seeing anybody commenting yet. It might just be the latency. I might have to give it a minute before it will catch up with the chat. If I had set ultra low latency on this before the stream, I would have been able to interact better. But the way it's set up is like there's a huge delay, and you can't change it midstream. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too. That like you got to stop and start and pick it up, because it was also a bit harder for me on the stream because I just feel kind of sad today. So it's a bit hard to bring the energy, but it's like I don't want like feeling sad to stop me from, you know, speaking my truth or, you know, communicating or performing with the world. Because if I was on a real tour, I wouldn't be able to just be like, I'm not going on stage tonight, I'm sad. Well, it looks like the delay is too much for a good engagement with the chat. I think I would also like to try to do a sort of Zoom version of this where there's more discussion and from everybody back. You know, it's more of a conversation, a communal thing. So thank you all for stopping by. I really appreciate you, and I hope you tune in next week as I refine and improve this process. And hope you have a beautiful Sunday.